Hello guys and welcome to the weekly vlog. It seems a bit strange actually because it's been about 2 or 3 weeks, more probably, since I've done one. I just first up want to explain why. The reason why is I've still at the minute got 2 full hour-long weekly vlogs left to upload, as well as a camping vlog and as well as the work I've done to the XC90, the work I've done to the Trooper. I think I've even got some videos of the work I've done to the van. Problem is I get round to uploading everything, I can edit them, upload them, but then they still need to be what our class is previewed. What I do is I just watch through them just to check that there's nothing in there where I've made a mistake or whatever, something I've mentioned that I don't want mentioned. I've got to review it. So unfortunately, when I've got like an hour-long video, I can edit things quicker or slower or whatever, but an hour is an hour. I've got to sit down for an hour, and sometimes just finding an hour to sit down and re-watch one of my vlogs completely from start to finish it's very time consuming. So yeah, so it is the 2nd of May today, bank holiday yesterday, and as you'll have probably seen on my last vlog I put out, I think there was snow on the ground, but bearing in mind that was only 2 weeks into March, so we're not that far, you know. There has been a few, but there's been multiple things. There's been the NEC at Birmingham, there's been a couple of weeks where there've been 3-day weeks, which this one's going to be a one because I'm off on Friday with taking the caravan somewhere. Tonight somebody's coming to, I hope, take the Trooper. He's coming on the train this afternoon. I'm picking him up at 6 o'clock from Morpeth train station. So again, tonight I'll not be filming too late. Tomorrow I'm going out with a few of my pals for tea, so I'll be wanting to get home a little bit earlier for that. And then Thursday morning, as soon as the street's cleared, I want to get the caravan hooked onto the ML, which is here, and get it put across the road out the way. Because like I've mentioned, when we finish at 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock, the street is absolute mayhem. Everyone's finished work and I cannot get the car and the caravan swung round in the street. So basically, see how it goes Thursday morning at 8, 9 o'clock. See, 8 o'clock's no good. See, I get up early as you like, but if people are leaving for work, it's very, very difficult. So the only time I find is once the school traffic's died down, 9 o'clock is a perfect time, because most people have left and come back, i.e. grandparents taking kids to school who've retired. So they'll go out, but then they'll come back at like sort of 8:45, 9 o'clock. So I've found about just bang on 9's a good time to start, and everyone's gone to work who's gone. Anyone from night shift and stuff are in, and it just makes it a lot easier for us to do it. So that's the plans this week. May do a little bit of the caravan in it. I've got one of my good friends who's got a Lexus. I forgot that it's a GS something. It's a really rare one and a really nice one. He might be coming today just to say hello to her because he's travelled from up the country. Paul. I'm not going to name surnames without permission of people, but he had the Honda Civic in a few months ago, the one like what I had. And it's a lovely car, so I'm going to do a bit of a walk around of that. Not going to claim I know everything about them. I'm pretty sure he'll stand next to us and tell us a few facts and figures, but it's a massive V8 one. A real nice new car. I forgot the exact names of it, which we will see. So yeah, that's how things are. Let's have a think on the last vlog. The dog, yep, he's perfectly fine now. I'll go and quickly show you him. He's healed up. He's back to his normal self. I think I've done a more recent one in the middle somewhere. I could be getting mixed up, so I could be repeating myself here. But just in case I'm not, show you. Come here. He's perfect. If Harvey's no bother. But Hunter, do you want to show? Have a look. He's all nicely. Let's have a look. He's all nicely healed up now. So happy days on him. Everything went as planned with the insurance, so that's that. Just before we get on to what's happening, there's something else interesting coming in tomorrow. A vehicle that I used to own. I'm not going to say it now. It'll be to see how many of you have been watching my channel for that long, because you'll recognise it straight away. I've got that in for a couple of days as well. What I also want to go through is what I've been through I was just rewatching my vlogs from like a month ago. Is thanking everybody for their donations and buy me a coffees. Again, Paul, who's bringing in this Lexus, thank you. There's Kit, you've done it a few times. There's the other guy, you'll know who you are if you're watching it. Again, I think you're a taxi driver somewhere down south. You were asking us about what car to buy. Oh, I can't think of your name, but you know who you are if you're watching it. I was giving you advice and stuff, and you were really thankful of it. You are asking to look for this and that and the other. and I was telling you, avoid that, avoid this. So you and Kevin X-Type, actually, he just called in last week, 2nd of May today, so the last week of April. Thank you, you've donated quite a few times. And somebody else, I haven't even read my messages yet because it's been a busy weekend. This is the weekend I was at the Motorist car show, and I did the review on the 2 Mondeos. Somebody sent us this is something that's new to us, and I'm not even sure myself, but you're called the Fiesta guy or something Fiesta, and you've got a picture of an old, I think it's a Mark III Fiesta on your page. You've sent us super thanks for an amount that I don't even know yet, and I'm not even sure how that works. I think that money goes into the monetisation. There's 2 ways if anybody wants to buy us a coffee, as I'm saying, just enough to get with a coffee. Yeah, they're going to buy me a coffee. The link is at the bottom of this video. If you go into the description, every video I do, I just copy and paste it across. What I do, all the rest of it. There's a little contact number on there, but yeah, there's a contact number on there. But like I've said, it's just a pay-as-you-go number. Please don't send us texts a mile long because it's the old pressing the buttons, ABC. I cannot reply back, so if you want to send a proper message in depth to us asking something, go onto my Facebook page, subscribe, Cardiff Garage North East, and send us a private message on there. But I do tend to keep the Facebook thing to a little bit of a minimum because I don't get anything for it, where it's just a little bit of an extra contact, a few little extra bits I put in on my vehicles, where I go and what I do. But it's not a fundraising thing, it's just a bit of fun, But that is, if you go on that link below, buy me a coffee. There's a link on there if you want to donate anything, and it's the same on this thing that YouTube do called Super Thanks. But I assume that just goes into the monetisation. Just another recap on the monetisation. As you know, I don't get sponsored by anybody. I don't get paid by anybody. I don't give the whole car vertical and Y-food nonsense every video. But like I've said, when you do have the adverts that come on, that just before my video comes on, sometimes they take the mick, they're like 30 minutes long or 10 minutes long. But if they're just like, say, a lot of them are like 5 to 10 seconds, and then say it's a 10-second advert, and when you get to 5 seconds, you can press the skip ads. If you can spare us that 5 seconds, just let it run through the 10-second, because if you skip it, it reduces what you get on the monetisation. I draw the line, like I've said. I wouldn't expect anybody to sit there for even a minute watching the damn things. But if that's just 2 lots of, say, 6 to 7 to 10 seconds ones, if you can spare us 20 seconds, I know they're absolute rubbish, the adverts. I don't select them, they're automatically on there. Just let them run. Then when the time out, the video starts. And all little things like that helps. Like I keep saying, the like and the comment and subscribe and all that. I'm pretty sure if you're watching this, you will have already subscribed. But if you haven't, just do it. If you don't have, like a lot of people say, they've just got smart TVs and stuff, and like they don't know how. It's simple. Even if you've got a smart TV, it'd be much more beneficial to anyway to actually just sign up to a free account with YouTube. All you need is an email address and a password. That's all they ask. And all it does, it means you can save my channel, subscribe it, and everything comes up when I upload it. And then you'll be able to have the like facility, and you'll be able to read comments and stuff. So if you do genuinely watch these videos for like an hour, you're obviously into YouTube enough. I would strongly recommend just signing up to an account, which is free, with YouTube, regardless of what you're watching it on a phone, whatever. That just means every time you come back to it, it's at the same place, all the rest of it. So I do. If I use any kind of platform, first thing I always do is sign up, and it just makes it a whole lot easier to use. So that's enough for that. Just want to go around what's in. Clearly this is in, because the battery doesn't like standing for more than a couple of weeks. So it's been on charge. Over the weekend because I'm away in it and I can't be bothered with that going flat. And it uses that. A lot of people say leave it running. They use that much petrol. It costs you like a £5 to leave it running for half an hour. So no, definitely not. Going to check the tyre pressures. But bar that, I've done a video on this. I think along lines with the Trooper. I'm not even going to get too much into that either. Doing oil changes and stuff on it. I'm not even going to mention that because that's still to be uploaded as well. So yeah. That's this one. I might just give it a once over when I get 5 minutes with some of that waterless wax or whatever it was called. To be honest, it's actually not too bad. So yeah, we'll see what happens. So I've got that here. And unfortunately, I've got one of those trees over there. Somebody who's into trees will tell you, like cherry trees, cherry blossom. It is going absolutely everywhere. All over me nice clean caravan. And it's really annoyed us. I've got both my cars parked off my own drive because of somebody else's tree, but this car still actually covered in them, believe it or not, from last year. because they just get everywhere. They're blocking all your drains. They get stuck under the wiper blades, and then when the sun bakes them on, they're like literally, you've got to like scrape them off like bugs. So yeah, right pain. I've had to park both my cars, the XC90 and the Trooper, across the road, and my driveway is empty. And the caravan, the sunroof, all the roof and everything, I've cleaned it. Now it's got all that crap, the little petal thing stuck to it, and you cannot just get them off. They don't just they don't like, I don't like the jet wash isn't, I haven't got that plumbed in at the minute. You just can't get them off. So really not happy with that. So we've got the little in, that's just in for service and MOT, I think, or just, I don't know, I don't even know what this one is. I think it's just MOT only. Little, you've seen these plenty, little 1.25 Fiesta, not the EcoBoost, so if you do go for one of these, it's the one to have. Never ever buy an EcoBoost Fiesta, the 1 litre especially. Diesel ones aren't particularly great with a Citroen engine in, but these have got the bulletproof Z-Tech engine in, and they will never, ever go wrong. So you'll not have any problems buying one of those. Are good little cars though. The only other thing we've got in is this Passat for service, I think, an MOT. But yeah, the new format of Passats, I don't even know what mark you call them. I've never found them very particularly interesting. That's just my opinion of them. I just think the whole new Volkswagen range, they all look the same. A Polo looks like a Golf looks like a Passat looks like a Jetta. What's that word? Like, they're very generic. They don't look like, when you're looking there, it just looks like a Polo, or it could be a Golf, but it's a Passat. But then it could be a Jetta. That's, do you know what it is? I haven't even looked at the back. It could be a Jetta. I'm sure it's a Passat, but I'm positive it's a Passat. Yeah, and I'm not even joking there. That's just how generic these are. This one's got all of the LED backlights on, which is easy enough for testing them, so you know you're not going to have any problems, but expensive when they go wrong. And underneath, they're pretty much unchanged, believe it or not, from like an 05 plate or 06 plate newer shape Passat. They never really changed much, and the only real downside to these underneath is these subframes rot terribly. The rest of the cars actually aren't too bad. These sills are plastic covered, but on the older ones, these used to corrode quite badly. But now the only bit of exposed, actually that's not even, no, it's all just covered in plastic now, so there's nothing to see. All plastic underneath under the engine. The same usual nonsense, which they've not changed. Aluminium hubs with steel components going through, so they're fused together. Ridiculous. I really did think they would have redesigned that by now, and these rot through, which you can see on a, I don't know what year this car is, but it's not that old. You can see the state of them, and these rust through. Again, not massively end of the world stuff, because they do just unbolt. It's not like the whole subframe, but it's always the rear end that suffer on these Vags. Subframes and these bottom arms. But they're not that much of an old car. But you know, yeah, you got your steel bolts going through aluminium, and you can see the reaction starting up there, you see. They all fluff up. And they actually look wet, kind of thing. But that's your reaction when you fuse aluminium and steel together. They absolutely weld themselves together. What I am going to quickly do for MOT purposes is clean this muck off these reflectors. It's a legal requirement. Not just the fact that they're present and correct, that they're actually working. Because if you've got a reflector like that, covered over with crap, it's not a reflector. It's got to actually be clean to work. So there we go. Same with number plates, obviously being readable, but that's fine. But there, that's them done. I'll show you a little bit what we're doing with the servicing, but I do want to show you the inside of this car, because I'll ask you the question, but I'm very, you know, I love me dogs, but every car I get, banger or not banger, I do not let dogs in. I have a thing. I do not like dogs on the seats in cars or in the interiors. As you see here, cages. Every one of my dogs go in a cage or in the back of the car, as you can see, covered with carpets and rugs. If you guys do it, that's your car. Everybody's entitled to do what they want. But a few cars I've bought that people have had dogs on seats, it wrecks them. They will never go right again. The smell, the hairs, even if you get the best valet in the world, the car is ruined. So to me, just in general, this is why saloon cars are no good for me. I can't have dogs on seats. Never mind with my dogs being in a garage. I just couldn't. I couldn't do it. I couldn't have my dogs jumping all over the interior of my car and then going out the next day to a wedding wearing a suit, sitting in my car covered in dog hairs all over the seats. I just couldn't do it. Like, I'm not even going to a bloody wedding, just going out without my work clothes on, you know? Because with me, even these work clothes get up the eyes, but dog hairs, they get everywhere. But I'll show you and see what you think. But I'll show you what we're doing underneath, because this will have the newer charge cooler engine in, so no doubt the oil filter will be underneath. So as it happens, we've just get it on the lift. You've seen there, got the under tray off, because you need to with these to get the oil filters, which are buried nicely up there in amongst a load of pipes, which is just ridiculous. But what we have spied is a whole load of gunk around this sump seal, which we're very suspicious of. A little bit, yes, but there's too much there, and there's something under here, and it's damp. So what we do in these cases is we leave them well alone, because if we take that off and it's stripped, the car's off the road, because you can't get the sump plug back in. So what we're going to use is the suction device, which you've seen us using many times before, which is down there. We're just going to use that to draw the oil out. So what we're going to do now is start the car up, let it run up to temperature. Once it's hot, suck the oil out and change the oil filter obviously first. But we can't do none of that yet because this setback. Yes, you could just say crack it away and see what happens, but you crack that away, and if the sump is stripped to threads, what money we can make doing an oil change. To be fair, sometimes it's worth just going, we're not touching it. But these new suction devices, as you've seen, are what the dealers use. But I'll show you an example on this Mercedes. The automatic gearboxes and everything. There, that dipstick. Dealerships use that. In a lot of cars, I know the exact amount of quantity they take to the dot. And that machine does actually take it out, I would say 98%. And I'm not going to lie, I do it on my own car. My own cars, I would suck the oil out them. So it's not something I'm doing to somebody else's car. I wouldn't do it to my own. The only ones I do was like this the other day, because I was putting some additive in. That was the only reason I did that, you know. So yeah, we'll have to bring it down now and do that. We've got the air filter to do as well, which we can get on with that. And we've checked it over for test, and it generally seems alright. Just been putting a bit of wax oil around the usual bits. The tyres on the inner edge are getting a little bit worn, but it's certainly not a fail. It's just an advisory on the test. More than likely, because they're quite low, I'll give them a bit top up. So yeah, catch you in a minute when we bring it down. Right, so that's the car down. What just done is the tyre pressures. They were about 20 psi, so that explains why they were rubbing on the edge. If your tyres ever rub on the edges, or the inner edge, it's not always just tracking, especially on the front. It's a lot to do with your tyre pressure. They were only at like 20 psi. But what a lot of people get mixed up with, if this is easy enough to see on this car, which it probably won't be, actually it is, let's have a look. It's got this weird thing on here. Yeah. These here, the thing there, look, 226, that's bar. And what I think a lot of people do, so it's meant to be 38, they say, not 2.6 bar. And what a lot of people think is they look at the 2.6 and they think it's like 26 psi. So what I would say is scrap whatever it says on them things, have a load of rubbish. What you want to be doing is just simply setting them about 36 to 38 psi for most general cars. I've got this set of about 44 on the back, 40 on the front, because I towed the caravan with it. But any other normal car, you're happy at 36, that's your happy medium. So yeah, so that's been done. It'll drive a hell of a lot better with pressure in the tyres. There's no coolant in, so very little. And she said the light's been coming up, the warning light, so we're going to have to top that up. We're letting it run up to temperature. And what I'm going to do in a second is snap the equipment in and reset the service light. We've got the air filter there to do, and the oil filter. That's just in there. So yeah, so that's what we're going to be doing. I just thought I'd show you that. But what I will show you is that. Wrecked, them seats. Wrecked. Yeah, and unfortunately, guys, fortunate for you guys, it doesn't have smelly vision, because it's not nice. And yes, we do generally use seat covers on light coloured interior cars, but I'm wearing a seat cover on this one to stop myself getting covered in dog hairs. So yeah, I need to reset the service light. I need to also reset the tyre pressure monitoring. There's no doubt that I don't know how that's not even flagged up, but I will reset it. So yeah, so I couldn't go on like that with these. These cars aren't worth a great deal of money, but I could not let my dogs destroy the interior like that. I love me dogs as much as anybody else, but they belong in the boot and they belong in a cage, not all over the interior seats of a relatively high value modern car. Because no matter what you do with that car now, the best valeter in the world can get it clean, but you will never get that car to smell normal ever again now. It is practically written off. So yeah, so I was just want to show you around the back with these again, like with the Passats. You can change that symbol there to anything you want, Golf, Polo, and they don't really look a great deal different, I don't think. But yeah, so we're going to get on. This is the Euro 6, in case anybody wants to know. It'll be the AdBlue one, more than likely. I'll have to double check down the back, see if there's an AdBlue injector. Probably will be with it saying the blue technology, blue something they call it. Was it Blue Motion? Let's have a look. Will it be in there? No, actually, this may not be. It might be lucky with this one. It might have just missed it. But it does say Blue Motion technology, but it doesn't mean they all had AdBlue. And it also doesn't mean the AdBlue tank isn't hidden away under the carpets in the boot and stuff. So yeah, that's this. I'm going to crack on now, reset the service light, let it warm up, draw the oil out, change the filter, and I'll come back to you. Right guys, you joined me at home. That was a little bit of a switch over in place. I've actually come and tested this little Fiesta because I realised I was doing my QC for my MOT testing, quality control. So I've come across and tested the little Fiesta, and absolutely little car this is. Not even at any advisories whatsoever. They really are such good cars, these. But while I'm here, I just thought I'd show you a couple of other bits and bobs. So yeah, this is currently the state of me drive. This is a lot better than it was yesterday because of all that coming off the trees all over me nicely clean caravan. But yeah, this is what I want to show you. It's getting picked up tonight. It's way down to London somewhere, so I'll be sad to see it go. And the XC90, I've got to have it parked over there because of all of the stuff going all over it. And let us tell you, it gets everywhere. I jet washed this off yesterday, and even these bits didn't come off. They just bake onto the paint. If you look at that, you've actually got to scratch it off to go right down into all the seals, windscreen panels and everything. So not good time. So what I'm actually doing now is I'm dropping that Fiesta off back at the woman's house who lives up there, and I'm taking this to the garage, and it's just going to remain there till the end of the week. And like I've mentioned, this is getting picked up tonight. So say farewell to the Trooper. Really don't want to sell it, but we can't keep them all, can we? So I'll catch you all shortly when I'm back at the garage. I want to start doing a few jobs to Volvo. I've already done a separate video on the XC90, so that'll be coming separate, just on with the engine mount and a split intercooler pipe. It's actually an ink pipe. I've just been on cleaning this little pipe up anyways, but as you can see, that has been doing no good towards how it runs. Anyways, that's a separate video. Just about to pull the Astra in. This is in for MOT tomorrow. Now, a few people have asked me my opinions on Mazdas, and I say that good cars, good engines, the diesels are absolutely terrible, but this is a 15-plate car, and it looks like a 20-year-old car underneath. And no, this car is not an individual one that's been abused or anything. It's just how they go. It is absolutely horrendous. This is just totally the norm for Mazda. See all the sills starting to rust. 15-plate car will remind you. Arms, subframe. So yeah, what I would say is unless you're going to buy it brand new and wax oil it from new, is do not buy a Mazda for these reasons. Terrible, absolutely terrible lines of corrosion, that, for its age. So there you go. We've had to wax oil everything because it was all starting to rot, the pipes and everything. So there we go. Catch you on tomorrow's vlog, guys. Like I've said, there's a few vehicles coming in of interest. Waiting for the guy now to get off the train with the Trooper. So I might even do a few minutes video if I have a spare 5 minutes to say a final goodbye to the Trooper like I did this morning. Right guys, welcome back to Wednesday's vlog. The old Trooper went the journey yesterday, but it's got a happy new owner, and hopefully it'll live on to have a good life. I will miss that car, but like I've said, and we've got that ML and this big beast here. I cannot have 3 big cars, so I'm quite happy at the minute with the way the fleet stands, of cars that I'm using at least anyway, is the XC90, the ML, and my little ZX. So yeah, that's that. And like I've said, a bit of an issue with the Volvo. I'm doing a separate vlog on this guy, so I'm not getting too much into it. But the intake pipe, that's all split. That's not coming till next week, so it's going to have to remain like this. But I have just been fitting the new engine mount of it at the back, the awkward one. I'm just about sorted with that, getting it bolted in, but I need to get on with what's in today. So what is in today? First up, I need to get the key for it. But we've got this Mondeo in for a service, and I've got the bits here. So I'm doing an oil filter, as you can see, Citroen Peugeot engine in them, just in case anyone doesn't believe us. Oil and filter, air filter, that's this. So what we're going to do is now jump straight in and reset the service light. I'm going to check the lights and whatnot with my dad shortly, but that's your Mark IV Mondeo. And what I am going to do, I'll just show you. I'll jump in, because I don't want to open the bonnet yet, because it'll affect this. Close the door, ignition on, and it'll tell you there, service oil, where it focuses in. So what you do is with these, nice and simple, throttle and brake all the way to the floor, switch the ignition on, and it'll just say at the bottom there, service oil reset in progress. Just leave it pressed in for about 10 seconds, and then it should say complete. I said just bear with us, it does take a little bit of time, hence it's part of the reset process. There we go, reset complete, feet off, ignition off, and now when you put the key back in, there, reset service complete. Take it out properly this time and back in, and there, no more service light. So there we go, that's the service light done. So I'm going to go out to the other side now and get the bonnet open. So there we go, bonnet open. One thing I hate with these is just, I'll swing the camera around. So if you look, the bonnet is bang right on your head. That nasty thing there, constantly right on your forehead. Ridiculous idea. Again, a lot of manufacturers do this. You know, you got these sharp edges right in your eye and in your nose and your teeth. It's just ridiculous. Why they haven't just put this bonnet stop a little bit further up so the bonnet's out the way. It's beyond me. Idiotic. Hence, I've never been a massive fan of the Mark IV Mondeo. I was just discussing this on the weekend with Chris whilst driving. Kind of lost interest in these Mondeos. I thought, okay, I would have one, and they drive very nice, I will say, and they're quite reliable. Just never really sparked it for me. They're a nice car, but I just don't know. I was quite mad about the Mark IIIs. Never could quite get there with the Mark IVs. Not saying they're a bad car. Definitely not saying they're a bad car. Just, obviously we know the BCM faults with these, where the screen wash pump capillary action basically goes into the wire from the screen wash pump, goes up the copper cores, gets itself all the way to the BCM behind the glove box, floods it, knacks it. So yeah, a big problem with these that was. So what we're going to do is get the air filter out, get the oil changed. I'm going to go around now and check the lights. So I'm just going to briefly fire it up and we'll go through the lights. Somebody's got the music on rather loud there. So all the lights on for what I can get going at least anyway. And we'll go around and check them, shall we? So indicators, nice and orange. These are like an LED, you probably can't see that on camera, which go around. You've got your fog light. We've got our 2 number plate lights working, fog light number 2. Again, got those working. And also got the indicator going. So it's alright at the back. I'll check the stop lights with my dad later, save putting the stick in. There we go, indicator, nice working. Fog light, LED running lights. So all that's working as it should. Yeah. Happy days. What we'll do is we'll knock those lights off at the front now, and we'll just see. Yeah, like you see there now. There, if you notice, they're not flickering anymore. When they flicker, it's dull on camera, and when they're on, it's like that. If you notice, it's when they go down to a dull rate to act as a side light, they start to flicker. Like watch, if I just turn these down to side light setting, I can guarantee on the camera now it'll come up as flickering. even though it's not to my eyes. No, it's not. It does on a few of them. It comes up, it doesn't have the quite rate where the flicker. But yeah, all good there. What I'll quickly do is knock those off, knock the engine off, ignition on, and into reverse. And just check the reverse, which they are. Which, believe it or not, on this car was one of the first signs when the BCM started to play up on it. The reversing lights weren't going off, they were just going absolutely manic. Flickering, flashing, the windows were going up and down and everything on it. So yeah, if you've got one of these Mondeos, what I suggest you do is it's down here, is you cut the wire which goes to your screen wash pump, just like these. Just cut it and put a joiner in it. Simple as that. And it breaks the link. And if you're wondering what I'm meaning by a joiner, just one of these things when I can get the box open. Which typically, with one hand, is easier said than done. Just these little items in here, which of course there's a million bits on the box to stop us from opening it with one hand. Just these little things, just here. Cut the wire and put one of them on. That's all you need to do, and that will break the link and stop the direct link for capillary action to happen. For it to knock your car up, basically. So what else have we got in when I get the key? For this little Mariva we've got in, for a little Ignis, and there's that Mazda, which I'll show you. I showed you last night with all the rust underneath. 15 plate Mazda 6. It's all right this year, but I don't think it's going to be fine in many more years to come. Like all Mazdas, which is why I say they're good cars, but avoid them. Yeah, so this Mariva, the back box, the exhaust, which is like a stainless steel design, what I've showed you before. Unfortunately, I'm not stainless steel up to those points, and it's snapped off. If you look underneath, you can just see the piece there. But the bad news is, no aftermarket companies make them. Dealer part only, so that's not good. When my dad gets back from the garage, we're going to have to see if we can repair that, but there's literally nothing to weld onto there, unfortunately. So not good. If not, it'd be a trip to the stainless steel place for a custom exhaust, and that won't be cheap. But I bet you an exhaust from the dealership won't be cheap either. And this does some weird on. When you unlock it, you get like one reversing light coming on. Lock. Unlock. It's strange. There always were very, very weird electrics on those Marivas when Joe used to have one. Again, I would say another car to avoid. Terrible, where they lose that memory for the key, they forget their own key. If you spin a wheel underneath when you're working on it, it'll lock the doors. Just a very bad little car, those are. And we've also got the little Ignis, which I'll quickly show you. We've just done an oil and filter change on that. Probably got the world's smallest oil filter I've ever seen. I've actually seen bigger motorbikes and grass cutter filters. Just seeing if my dad's just left it in here to show you. Oh, he has. Yeah, look at that. It's absolutely tiny. It's still got a 1200 engine, 4-cylinder engine in it. It's not got some little crappy 3-cylinder awful engine in. I just don't know why they've got the oil filter that small. It's the same engine as what was fitted to the Swift as well, and that didn't have that type on. Yeah, so that's this weird little looking thing. It's alright. It's quite groovy looking little car. Like I said, I've done the service light reset on this, which is on one of my other videos, which has proved to be one of my most popular videos ever, which is strange. How to reset a service light on a Suzuki Ignis. Yeah, it's quite cool. All the orange and USB ports and a screen. Yeah, it's alright little thing. But all I've done on this is an oil and filter and air filter. And I think it's in for MOT later on as well. But this was in... No, actually, no, it's not. This one's just service only. So I'll give you a little look around it. I'll just lock it. Yeah, quite a different looking little car, the Ignis. Not bad cars, uber reliable, I will say. But I do prefer the facelift version of these that they did, I must say. Where they've got the LED front lights. And again, the foregrip would be nice to have. But yeah, that's that. Oil and filter, air filter, I had to get a blueprint one with the crushable edges because nobody can get the oil filters for that. I've had to source that oil filter myself, which is really, just got the key, really, really weird. So anyways, I'm going to crack on with the Mondeo, and I'll get back to you soon. I just thought I'd show you this. I forgot it's been that long since I've worked on one of these. These are like a DW10 engine. And again, it goes to the point of why I never really had a great deal of interest. And I'm not by any means saying the Mark III Mondeo had an easy engine to work on. It was a pain in the arse to do a few jobs on it. But this is why I'm not a big fan of manufacturers using other engines out of different cars. So it's a Citroen Peugeot engine in a Ford. So naturally they fit them, and there's not places to put stuff where there should be. So what they've done is, obviously this cover here has been taken off in some form like that. So obviously, taking that off, I've had to move the oil cap filler out the way. As you can see, the oil filter is buried down there. Now, as you can see, this inlet manifold covers it. It's invisible from where I'm standing. So you can't get a spanner in there, you can't get a socket in there, because you can't get a ratchet in because of all of this. So luckily, I forgot, we had this magic tool, but now, you need magic tools to just change an oil filter. Pathetic. So we'll put this in, and that makes life a whole lot easier. So obviously, that goes on there. When I find what I did with it, the ratchet is here. Let's pop that on. Just see if you can see that turn down there, because I put a white mark on it so you can see there. There we go. That's it moving. So there we go. Got to do that now. Change an oil filter. That's the kind of stuff that just really makes me fed up of having to work on modern cars. And these aren't modern, these are over 10 years old. But the manufacturers of that engine must have thought, well, hold on, this isn't fitting. We'll just relocate it. You can relocate them, no problem. There's loads of space here, there, down the back of the engine, underneath. But no, they just decided to stick it underneath the inlet manifold, wedged up against the alternator. Madness. So anyways, that's that. The air filter screws this is from Ford, by the way. This car's been serviced by no less than Ford. They've left screws unfastened because they've rounded them off. There's ones where they've had a go of grinding, which we do. So it's just a right mess to get these out. Again, why do they just not use stainless steel clips? Normal fasteners. Beyond me. And it's not just Ford, they all do that. But yeah, so there we go. We're going to get the oil filter out, new one in. Just all extra time that adds time to jobs that people do not realise that you need paid for. Like on that Suzuki. Off with the oil filter. This Volvo, for instance, I don't know if you can see it, but it's just up there. Lovely. You don't even need to take an engine cover off. That's it, just up there. But they do this. So it's hard when people ring up and just say, how much for a service on a Mondeo? And you can't give them prices because there's that many different engines. They do a 2.2, 2 litre. That's the petrol ones. So one of them could take you 5 minutes to change the oil filter. The next one, you could be on an hour. And if you don't have that special tool, you just simply can't do it. So that's why now we tend not to do too many quotes, because you can't quote jobs. Like that Mariva, for example. That's just come in, and dealer part only for the exhaust. So another one which, taking in little jobs, can sometimes just be an absolute headache. And in this trade and other trades, you'll know what it feels like. So we're going to get on, change the oil filter, air filter, get that out, and I'll show you what's been done. But I think they've not been changed too long ago by Ford, but the guys lost a bit of trust in them because they've been a bit dishonest and a few dodgy things went on. So I'll catch you soon. Yeah, so just to finish off with the Mondeo, just to show you, again, these being Citroen Peugeot, and they do, I'll just find the light, I've got it on here. These, well, I call them paper, cardboard engine covers made of fabric. They trap all of the moisture, and it really does take its toll. You can see how crusty these subframes are getting on these. Probably advise this to be protected, to be quite honest. It's getting a little bit on the crispy side, as you can see. Yeah, Doesn't look great. So yeah, I just want to show you that. And as you can see, that oil filter is completely invisible from the bottom and invisible from the top. Took a lot of people some actually finding the oil filters when these first come out, but that's done. I just wanted to show you them, how black that is. I don't think that was changed less than 10,000 miles ago. Nor do I think that air filter was. So there's your dealer servicing. I'm not going to make comment and say definites, but make your own decision on that. So that's that. Quick look underneath. There's your DPF. There's my repair. Last time, told you it's still held out. It's done lots of miles since. So yeah, the usual Mark 4 Mondeo gremlins more or less been sorted on this car now. So that's that. I know I've already put this into my vlog. I'm doing a separate one on it, but the silicon pipes are now in. The new engine mount down the back there is fitted in place, but you can't actually even see the mount from the top. And like I mentioned, bit annoyed that that's I wish that told us, but I'm pleased I found what the fault was. That is coming from Sweden, so I have to wait for next week to do that. The Vivaro, hopefully we can fit this sleeve to the exhaust where it's snapped off. It's been knocked on there now. It was actually snapped off right at the exhaust, so hopefully that can be welded and we can replace it, because like I was telling you, dealer part only. So that's that. Quickly show you the one car I haven't had on today. Obviously there's the RAV4. I've got my little helper in the day. You can see Harvey there and Olivia over there somewhere hiding. But I just want to show you this 15 plate. Looks lovely, doesn't it? But you've all seen this last night up on the lift, so just be very, very careful when you're buying a Mazda. Any of them. They look brilliant. There's no rust on none of the arches. Nothing to really see of interest. But you know what that car looks like underneath, don't you guys? One to remember for you. So I'm going to leave it here for today, just to let you see. There's Harvey going mad, Hunter and Olivia and my mum chasing them there. So tell you what, I might come back to you, just a quick video later on of the Vivaro once we get the exhaust welded, because tomorrow there's a few things I want to add in as well. I want this to be a short vlog, but by the time I do, it'll actually be starting to mount up. So I'll catch you soon, guys. Right, just to finish off, as I've mentioned, dealer part only, so if you do own a Vivaro, make sure you look after your exhaust. Mainly, I think the 1700 diesel, and I would assume the 13 diesel. All of this is dealer part only. So any of it snaps or breaks, you're either going to have to repair it or go to a stainless steel place. Luckily, managed to repair it, but you cannot, there's no other option. Bit of black paint to repair the welds. To protect the welds from any more rust. But these diesels with DPFs, the exhausts get very, very hot. Hence the rust the way that they do. At one point, diesels didn't used to get that hot, but nowadays they do. So yeah, so there we go. Just put a bit of spray paint as well on the hangers. But that is as good as it'll get, and it'll probably last way longer than these people keep this car. So there we go, that's that done. That's this one ready to go out. Like I said, waiting for a pipe for that, so I can't do anything more with it. The Astra's underneath. We've got space, which we were meant to be keeping the car in, which we haven't. But we're just getting this in. And this was what you realise, this used to be mine. It was a 9-seater minibus. We've got 200,000 miles on. It's in very good condition. But I believe it had a replacement engine. But what I can't understand is, when I had it, it had a problem with the engine. To the point where I bought it knowingly with engine problems, and I sold it to the guy knowingly with engine problems, and he's had it sat for 6 to 9 months, maybe longer, and now somehow it's running okay, which has got me absolutely baffled. I must say, I haven't driven it. I will sharp let you know when I do drive it. It may just be this guy's used to driving a 1960s camper van, one of them Volkswagen things, that, you know, the air-cooled ones. So maybe he's not just getting quite the same idea as how it should be driving. Nevertheless, it still used to drive all right. It was just a little bit down on power. But I haven't got the keys for it, but I don't think I've locked it. Have I locked it? No. But it was such a cracking vehicle, this was. I really wish I had kept it in a way. It had all the removable seats and everything. It's perfect, really. Perfect for what you would want. It's got all the TV, like, kind of sat-nav system built into it. Aircon. Another weird one. Aircon, but windy windows. And a really good sound system as well, I will say. But the only thing I've spotted immediately for MOT, them discs are absolutely knackered, and unfortunately these have bearings in them, so the only downside to them having bearings in is they're going to be expensive. But we need to get it up on the lift and check, because it has stood for well over 6 months, over winter. So we'll see. We'll get it up on the lift and see what we'll actually find with it. Hopefully it's just the discs, because it's a cracking van. I hope it does get sorted and we'll get it through the test. Let's have a look. Yeah, just from the back, it's massive. It's absolutely huge, this thing, especially with it being the long wheelbase. And just so any of you know, the Vivaro, the Vauxhall Vivaro, Red Hill Traffic, Nissan Primastar, whatever they call it. The only way you know, there's only two versions to do with these: short wheelbase, long wheelbase. Long wheelbase, you look here, it's got this section. The short wheelbase literally stops there, so you get about 30 centimetres. That's not a great deal of length between a long and a short wheelbase on these. They're not like transits. So yeah, if you ever think about buying a Vivaro or anything, just look down at the bottom of the rear sills, and if they're that long wheelbase; if they're literally like that, short wheelbase. End of story. So yeah, and before a few years say, this is actually class 4. Do you know that? Class 4, the same as like a normal car or anything. And do you want to know why? Any commercial vehicle that's not over 3,001 kilograms maximum laden weight is class 4. Anything 3,001 over is class 7, and it's 3,001 to 3.5 to 3,500, they'll be class 7. So when you look on this, even though this is a minibus anyway, was a minibus, the main factor you look at is on this plate, and there, 2,960, class 4 for the MOT all day long. So there we go. Going to end that one here today, guys. I'll catch you tomorrow on Thursday, and I have actually nipped home and moved the caravan, so I'll be in nice and early tomorrow to get on with this Vivaro to get it sorted for an MOT. So I'll catch you then. Hello guys, and welcome to Thursday's vlog. This is the last vlog. Remember, tomorrow I'm away in the caravan. I may do some different filming of that on a separate vlog, but for what's on today, I mentioned the Vivaro, what used to be mine. This has got about 200,000 miles on, and it's actually not bad, Nick, whatsoever for one of these. Bottom arms, normally the ball joints go, but luckily this time it's not an issue. Tyres are good. There's a little bit of wear on the inside edge of this one, but the pressures were low, to be honest. And like I've said, those front discs will clean up. They're actually in good condition. They're more or less new, actually. One bit of damage to the sill here, but it's just been crushed in, no corrosion or anything. This is the difference in 09 plate Vivaro. They're not bad on the old rot on the bodies. You get a little bit on the running gear, but it's just all surface, and obviously the usual bits on the back of the plates. But as you can see, that disc, better luck with the wheel off. That really was definitely not ever going to be going through an MOT. But these have got a bearing inside. I think I've showed you these before. You've got to take the centre hub out, and they're a big unit. I'll show you them when they're off, when we fit the new ones anyway. But bar that, luckily everything is okay. Just a bit of a usual coating of the pipes and that, but this back shield is, we're going to just trim it off. It's nothing out of the ordinary for anything like this. For much newer cars, to be honest, they're falling to bits on. And this back disc's not quite as bad, but it is definitely past it. All the exhaust system's good, but when you get a look underneath one of these, it's a totally different world to a Transit, to be honest. It might look surfacey rusty, but you know, a quick scrub down and coating, and there's really nothing wrong with this at all. So yeah, and even the exhaust system's lovely and simple. So we're going to get on with these. All we've got to do is take the centre piece out, caliper off, pads out, caliper carrier off. Hopefully nothing seized, so we'll get on with that. We'll get it all off, and I'll show you when it's stripped down what it looks like, basically when it's all off. Right guys, I'll just show you now it's stripped down, like I said before. So this is what you're left with when the disc's off. It's just like a stub axle, which we've coated with some like ceramic grease for it to slide on. That's your ABS sensor you've got to be really careful of, but like I've mentioned, these fall to bits. They've been trimmed off a bit just to neaten them up because they were getting really raggy. Again, with this boot on the caliper, it's actually pushed back nice and easy. If it hadn't we would have definitely changed it, but we're just going to have to put an advisory on to keep an eye on this offside rear brake. If it starts to get tight, then so be it. This is your new disc with a bearing with the ABS rings on it, and that's just got to basically slide on as so. Just pushes on, and that's that. This side, pretty much the same thing really. Again, that's what's left of the shield, which we've trimmed off around, and the new ones to push on. There, what's left of the old ones, as you can see, it's got the ABS pickup ring on them. Bearing. Seems a very wasteful idea really, because in one sense, yes, it's good when you replace the discs, you replace the bearings, but it just takes you to get an overheated caliper or something to warp a disc, and you've got to go changing bearings for no reason, which would have otherwise ran for a lot of years to come. So it's a bit of a silly idea personally, because it's a lot of expense as well and waste. This caliper went back fine, and the boot is also fine. We just used some hooks to hang them so they don't stress the brake hoses. The only other thing was, where I find it, it must be over somewhere, was the caliper carriers. Is they've got seized on the bench. They've got, well, both of them oddly have got seized bottom ones. See the top one I can pull up? Bottom one, seized solid. Same with that one. So we're going to clean all them up, clean the areas where the pads sit, and free them off. And then everything should go back together a little bit like that. But I'll come back to you when it's all built back up and done. But that's it. You've got your big nut that you put on. There'll probably be a new one in the box, as well as a new dust cover, like a boot, like a rubber. They're not rubber, my mind's gone to sleep. Just the covers that go over them once you've torqued them up. But yeah, there's your new design. Bit of a silly idea, I still do think. I don't fully agree with it, but I suppose for a commercial vehicle, the amount of miles you would do between changing discs, you're probably worthy of changing the bearings. But they don't just fit them to vans like this, they fit them to bloody Renault Clios and Renault Meganes and stuff like that. Bearing in mind, this is not a Vauxhall, it's a Renault, just so you know. It's just the badge on this that says Vauxhall, that's it. And the little screen on the dashboard, that's the only thing they've took from a Vauxhall. You know, like on this Astra, like they've got the little orange screen. That's about the only thing Vauxhall, apart from the badge on this van. 2-litre M9R engine, which are renowned for the injectors getting water on them, only on these vans, because they leak through the scuttle. This one actually seems alright. But I did drive it just in the yard yesterday, and I can confirm the guy says that it's running better, maybe, but it's still not running great. But that's as he bought it from us. I knew it had a bit of a misfire. It could be an injector, could be anything, but I did warn him, if it wasn't an injector, it could be something along the lines of like a cylinder down, like a valve or something. But it just runs too good and too well for it to be fully mechanical. I personally think it's a dodgy injector, or a dodgy wiring to the injector due to water being in there at some point. But that's how he bought it. He's probably quite happy to drive it the way it is. It is perfectly drivable, doesn't overheat, doesn't smoke, doesn't do anything. It's just a bit down on power, that's all. Anyways, we'll catch you soon when all this is built up and done. And I'll probably end it there, because I'll probably have to try and upload this when I'm away and render it and everything, and I don't want to have to be doing too much over 3 and 4G. Maybe the Clubhouse on the site has Wi-Fi, but for how good that is, I do not know, because I don't even know if they have it yet. I'm just assuming that. But anyways, we'll catch you soon when we get this built up. Right guys, just to finish off Thursday's vlog and pretty much finish off this week's, because that's it. So the brakes are all built up now. We had a few problems, like I mentioned, with them being seized, and just generally the design of the brakes on these. But there's the new padded discs, which obviously come with the bearings. Sliders freed off, so they're nice now, and obviously you can see, you can pretty much just move it with your fingers. All that's been trimmed off as best as we can, just doing a bit of wax oiling around the nuts and various bolts, heads we've been on at, and bits around the bottom of the shocker. So yeah, that's that one done, and it's ready for MOT. So we just need to double check that everything's on right, get the wheels on, and that's that. Fingers crossed it fits on the MOT ramp. Like I've mentioned, it is class 4 under all grounds. It's an M1 vehicle. It actually was never a goods carrying vehicle to start with. It was a passenger carrying vehicle, so it could actually be 3,500 this and still be class 4, because it's not it was never a van. It's got windows, look like panels, but they're full windows all the way around on it. So it's class 4 all day long. But yeah, that's that. Got to get that tested. To be quite honest, I want to get away early, because I've got the caravan hooked up to the car opposite the house. I've got a load of stuff I need to get put in there. A few things I want to do around the house. I was debating the way the grass is growing at the minute. Might even cut the grass before I leave, because it's just going to be a headache on Monday. Because like I mentioned, I'm not sure about doing a vlog next week, because I'm only in Tuesday and Wednesday, because Thursday and Friday I'm off because me and Holly are going to this, I think I mentioned it a few times, it's an ambassador cruise experience. Naturally, we don't have the money or the real interest with two young kids to go on a real posh cruise, but a big ambassador cruise line is coming into North Tyneside, the River Tyne, next to Royal Quays, and it's an experience. So you go there for 11 o'clock on Thursday, you can board the ship, get your room, check in or whatever you do, and they're doing a renaming ceremony of the ship later on the day, so you have like most of the day to walk around the ship and explore, and then you get dressed up on a night time, a bit peed off a bit, because they're like, it's a black tie event. I'm not posh, guys, I didn't even know what that meant. I literally just thought that meant a black tie, but it's like suits and stuff. But I don't own a suit. I do own a suit, but I haven't worn it since well before COVID and everything, and even then I wasn't quite keen of it. So I've kind of told them where to go. I'm not buying a suit to do one poxy night. What I will do is buy, I think I've got some dressish black jeans, some dress shoes, I'll wear a white shirt, a black tie, and I'll go and buy, so I'll happily buy a new white shirt, a black tie and a blazer, but I'm not buying a full suit. I'm just not doing it, and if they don't like it, they can get stuff, simple as that. It's costing me over 250 quid anyway. So anyways, renaming of the ship, then a full nighttime cabaret, evening meal, drinks and stuff like that, and then you spend the night, and then the next morning you get up and you have breakfast, and then you disembark. I may do a recording on it. I would ask you now, would you like us to do it, but I'll be doing it before this video goes out, so because I'm weeks behind on my vlogs. But I think I might do a video on that. But yeah, not sure that I want to go buying suits and that. But anyways, when I get back on Bank Holiday Monday, this will be the Jubilee, whatever you call it, me and Holly is going to have to do my worst nightmare and go shopping to bloody Metro Centre on a bank holiday. After coming back from camping and storing the caravan away. My idea of hell. So anyways, enough of that. Hope you guys have enjoyed what I could really get together this week. So if you've enjoyed it, as always, please hit the like. If you haven't already done so, hit the subscribe. You know, it takes 2 seconds, and leave a comment. And like I mentioned, they buy me a coffee and all them super thank you to everybody who's done that. If you do want to make a donation to anything, the link is down below of buy me a coffee. Somebody did a super thanks the other day. I don't even know how that works, but I think that just goes into the monetization. Same thing will happen, guys. It'll always to go towards me and my dad getting a coffee, a sandwich, a drink, whatever. But I do appreciate each and every one of you who leave comments, like and support the channel, whichever way you choose to do that. So I'll catch you on next week's vlog. Well, I won't, because like I've just explained, it'll be the week after, but I have got plenty of other content to come.